Good morning. We start with the Koochiching County Development Authority regular meeting on Tuesday, October 8th. Can we start with the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we approve the proposed agenda with the additions and deletions?
Moved. Support.
Call for the sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Approve the minutes from the July 9th meeting.
I'll move the minutes. A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Financial business, approve the January through September accounting report, and the approve the July through September paid invoice vendor report.
Did you want me to go over the accounting report at all?
Sure.
So for KDA, we had budgeted a revenue of $237,843. We've brought in to date $251,167. A little bit more from IRRB, and then a little bit more interest on reserves than realized. Expenditures were budgeted at $280,247. To date, we've expended $235,298. The biggest outstanding item is the KDA, $25,000. I think we had given them our monies for that infrastructure improvement for additional charging stations at the cold weather testing site. We've not had a request for them to receive that yet, so we'll probably follow up on that here before the end of the year. They also have an outstanding grant or loan payment due to us for about $20,000 that they're waiting for revenue to come in on a loan that we had provided them previously. So it would be their last payment. So otherwise, fund balance. We just received our IRRB funds for next year. So our fund balance is at $371,174.
Sounds good. I'll move the financials. A second.
Call for the sign.
Aye.
Aye. Any new business? Old business?
I just mentioned we met at the Peak Bog out here a couple 3 weeks ago and met with some of the liaisons to the company that are potential harvesters and stuff. So just kind of went over some of the needs and timelines and things like that. And I know they're up for another permit out there, so we're hoping that we can over the next couple of years get some development there, and hopefully that can come to fruition. Pretty neat. They've done a lot of work out there already. They've got a lot of clearing done and pretty much ready to go for that part of it. It's just the infrastructure and some of those things that we're looking at now that they're going to have figured out before they can move on site. So, but just that's about it. Anything else, Dale, you think on that?
No, other than what I had mentioned there earlier, it was ironic that 3 days after we were out there, the article come out in the Star Tribune, and I had talked to Nathan caught me the other day and said he had talked to DNR Lands in Mineral Guy, that had provided all kinds of information to that reporter and never got fairly reported, I guess, in their opinion. But so that's I don't see an end coming to that anytime soon. We just hope they get their permits and move forward. So.
Absolutely.
Should be good economic development for the Big Falls area.
Be a great thing. The other is this new business. Jason and I were on a call yesterday. Potential for some discussion on the end of school, I guess. Maybe that's the wrong way to put it, I guess, because nothing has happened yet, but just the awareness that maybe that building would come up for some kind of usage, hopefully.
I think there's one more step in that process here within the next 2 or 3 weeks that should be determine the path forward, hopefully. So but we just again had discussion with one of the local group members and the members out in that area that are still hoping for some type of special legislation to get, some type of educational thing going out there. So just one more step, and then potential of meeting with the Department of Education and then the legislators here, our local legislators and delegation to help find a direction if that's doable. So, but yeah, should have some more answers within 3 weeks or so. It sounds like 2 or 3 weeks.
I think the board needs to be on our toes a little, so to speak, as to if that building does become available. Give some thought to that. What, if anything, that we would do.
Any public comment? All right. Move to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Call for the sign.
Aye.
Thank.
All right. Now the regular county board meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. Welcome everybody to the Koochiching County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. First order of business under county business is to approve the proposed agenda with additions and or deletions. We have any of either? No additions or deletions?
Not on the board agenda, the committee of the whole, the first item, Derek asked that we table it for till next week, so
Okay.
I don't think that probably needs to be part of the regular board meeting, but just so you know, when we get to the committee of the whole.
Sounds good. So I'd accept a motion to approve with that minor adjustment.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is to approve the minutes from the September 24th, 2024 regular meeting. Everything good in the minutes?
I'll move.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is financial business. Chair would accept the motion for items A, approve September summarized payment listing. D, approve September payroll and ACH payments. C, approve courthouse claims. And item D, approve highway claims.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Thank you, Commissioner Hudson. Any discussion on the payments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is to approve the 2025 County Board meeting schedule. And it's already that time of year to do that. So years go by fast.
Mr. Chair, do we have some remote ones scheduled in, or we don't know when, or?
Well, I think we need to have that discussion of where you would like to meet and how often. So we can certainly have that discussion here. I mean, we don't have to pick certain dates, but if you give me direction, I can reach out to, those small cities or where you may want to meet and see if that is something we can do. Probably I don't know what the recording capabilities are, so if we met remotely, there'd be a chance. It'd be a public meeting, obviously, but we might not be able to record and stream it. So, you guys want to have that discussion now and, pick some locations and frequencies. If it's once a year, twice a year, then I can reach out to those respective places to see if I can't line that up.
I would think the schools in Little Fork and North Home would have capability to have a meeting there, if it's possible. Wouldn't they, or?
Or the cities,
Yeah.
The city probably. Yeah,
City building?
I think North Home for sure, at least once, maybe twice. Not to have them all, but maybe one in Little Fork, either this year, maybe next year, and we could have one in Big Falls or Birchdale. Just once. Them two. But
So you wanna do
North Home for sure once this next year.
North Home,
Even if we just try it out, just maybe do one North Home, first quarter or second quarter.
Yeah, we got 4 quarters. We can go there one meeting to 4 different places if they want
we
us.
could go to each corner once a quarter.
And yeah, when-
North Home, Little Fork, Big Falls, Birchdale would be,
If,
Silverdale next year.
You'd be by yourself.
Birchdale, where would be the place to meet or contact out there?
Community building?
Yeah, right.
To schedule it?
Yeah.
Where would it be, where would we hold it?
At the community center there. There's
Center.
capabilities to broadcast from there, I'm sure. So. And actually, I think my daughter-in-law is the scheduler there now, so. I think.
Okay, so I can work on incorporating those 4 places in once next year, and then
We could record the meetings, no problem, right? I mean, we're not required to broadcast live, or are we?
we're not required to record or broadcast live. We're required to obviously record the minutes, but.
Right. But I mean, they could be recorded.
So I can work with those folks in those communities to see what they have for capabilities, and
Sure.
if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we still can meet there and
Yeah,
work on our business.
How's the time look? Does the time look okay? Or is that appropriate for 9:30? Is that you can have community members be able to be there at 9:30? Like say from Birchdale or Big Falls or
Yeah,
North Home?
I think they,
Be okay?
or could do evening meetings. I don't, obviously
If they want to come, they will.
Right.
Have we ever held a meeting in North Home? I mean, that we know of? Or
I don't know.
I mean, so they might take an hour off their day to come there.
We can try it for next year
Yeah.
and see how it goes.
And if it doesn't that we hit them all, I don't, one a quarter, it isn't, we're moving forward. Try the one in North Home, and then if they all fall into play after that, then that's fine. If we miss a town or two, we'll get it the following year,
Yeah.
right?
I would think that Birchdale and Big Falls would probably be better to have an evening. Have it start at 6 or something like that if it works. What do you guys think?
It's fine with me, 5 or 6. I
5 or
wouldn't
6
anticipate a large crowd, but,
You never know.
Just,
Well, maybe see what the folks would prefer to from those areas, if they prefer to
I can talk to the
have it in the evening or.
mayors or city
Yeah.
administrators and see what makes sense. And
Right, yeah.
if you guys want to give me the authority to schedule those and approve we'll use the dates as they're
Yeah.
in here, and then I will add those locations and times
Yeah.
as I schedule them.
That sounds good, yeah.
Approve 2025 board meeting schedule with authorizing me to schedule meetings in North Rome, Little Fork, Big Falls, and Birchdale one time next year.
Yep. Chair would accept the motion as presented.
Moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. Next up is authorized administration seek bids for official newspaper for 2025 county publications. This is an annual event. We'll put that out there, and I think we go beyond that too, and we kind of reach out where we can get some publication, even if they're not accepted, and we pay for those, I think, around the North Home area there to get that in the Bear Chronicles, to get that information out to those folks too, so. As required by statute, so we have to press along, and we're sure grateful that we do have a provider here, where we didn't there for a while, so appreciate the Gazette being there available and publishing, so. But would accept the motion to seek those bids.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
second.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. The next item is approve airport consultant request for proposal as presented and authorized from the county administrator to solicit proposals. The summary, and if you want, I'll read the summary here. The airport steering committee has recommended the endorsed RFP to be brought to both the city and county boards for consideration to seek proposals for an airport consultant to identify opportunities and recommend items to reduce the amount the airport needs to be subsidized annually while ensuring a sustainable future for the airport. The RFP requests the following. Meet with airport steering committee to define and understand scope of requested work as outlined below. Provide financial analysis, risk analysis, strategic planning, consulting services, and recommended ownership models to efficiently and effectively sustain airport operations and represent the taxpayers of Koochiching County relating to the airport's joint powers agreement, any and all airport contracts, the FBO, airport management, janitorial, and carrier, the finances, including capital budgets, operating budgets, expenditures, and revenues, and identification of possible new revenue sources, the economic impact, the long-term viability of the airport, and projected taxpayer contributions to sustain airport operation and capital needs, and state and federal grant awards, past and future, what impact do grant terms have on the county and city's ability to make operational funding or ownership changes. And at the end of this year, they provide and present modeling, analysis, independent opinions, reports, findings, and recommendations to the airport steering committee. So, and I think we have a timeline of getting it out here and having a 6-week window for applicants to put in requests for this RFP. And then I think we have, what, a 3 or 4 month window to get that done, and we can extend that a little bit. But I think the goal is to have this kind of wrapped up before budget time next year is what the goal is here, so.
Yep, if both the city and the county approve going out for RFP here this week, then I will try to get this out next week. We have proposals due by December 6th, and then they'll come before the city and the county to either approve or not. We ask that they have, if we do enter an agreement with a consultant, we ask that they'd have their findings and reports back to us by June 30th of 25.
This is a joint venture upon approval at the city. I'm not sure how that went. I think it was on their special agenda yesterday. I don't know what the outcome of that is, but if that follows through, then we'll kind of team up on this here, and we have some funds allocated for this here if approved, so or at least budgeted if approved. Yeah, this just kind of taking a long look at the long-term financial stability and the opportunities of where we're going to be in 10, 15, 20 years. Things change over time, and we want to make sure that we're being fiscally responsible. There's lots of good stuff that's happening there, and we want it to continue, but we also need to take a look at how that can happen too. So that's kind of what this is, and I think it's fairly unanimous on this from the city and at least in the steering committee area there that we agreed to move forward with this. So that would be my recommendation would be to move forward with this and see where it takes us.
Was the steering committee vote unanimous, you said?
Yeah, we agreed at the committee there to move forward with it and bring it forward to the respective bodies for potential approval. So I mean, this is still a decision here, and as it is for the city council. And I did not follow. If anybody knows, you can tell me if they approved that or not. I'm not sure. I didn't tune in, but I think it was on their agenda for last night. So and if it wasn't approved, obviously, then we could make a decision either to move forward with it or not too. So that's still kind of in our purview, I think, if we wanted to move forward on our own or not. So, but there's a financial commitment to this. I think we set aside $50,000 for this, with really not knowing what this is actually potentially this could be or what this could cost. I'm not really sure. Nobody really knows because I don't know that it's been really done. There's companies there that have done this, and we've read up on a few of those, but what the actual cost is, depending on what we're looking for, I think is kind of still up in the air. So I would think that would be enough, and we can obviously have a not to exceed. I think that's kind of what we have budgeted. If the budget's approved, that would be part of that, or we can set that limit here and now too, if there's a consideration for that. So
I'll make the motion.
thank you, Commissioner Hill.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next up, Human Resource. How you doing, Ryan?
Good morning, Commissioners. How you guys doing?
Good.
Beautiful day.
How's it going with you? You keeping busy?
Oh yeah, staying busy.
Always, right?
That's what we are. All right, so I got one thing on the agenda today. This is to approve the retirement of Jean Anderson, Social Services Supervisor. Her last day will be December 13th. Position replacement will be discussed actually in the committee of the whole later today. Derek will be presenting that. Jean has been employed by the county for just over 30 years. So we will definitely miss her. She's been absolutely fantastic, and yeah, our loss is her gain so that she gets to retire and enjoy retirement. So that's what I got for you.
All right. Thanks, Gene, for all the hard work.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Gene.
Derek
Well
actually
done.
asked to table it till next week for committee of the whole. So
Denver.
he'll be
That's
Later date then.
yep,
discussing some options with you guys on how to move forward.
Well, congratulations to Jean. Certainly wish her well, and her service is definitely appreciated, so over the years, and hopefully she enjoys every minute of that retirement, so I wish her well. But we do need a motion, and then we'll discuss how this position is going to be filled at a later date here, it sounds like. So right now we'll be looking for a motion to accept her employment separation.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and motion carries. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Jones. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You too.
Next up is to consider approval of Minnesota lawful offsite gambling application. This is for LG 2020 application for exempt permits, Hunters Falls Bass Championship on behalf of the Rainy Lake Sport Fishing Club. As Rainy Lake Sport Fishing Club raffle conducted on February 22nd, 2025 in Sand Bay, ice permitting, hopefully. So their annual event, great event, good food, good fun, and you gotta watch where you step out there. So.
Make the motion.
My foot will fall through a 10-inch ice hole, by the way. Found that out.
Need bigger boots.
Well, I went right up to my knee before well, I got my boot back anyway. But, so we're just looking to approve that off-site gambling application.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next up is to consider renewal of group health insurance. And I'll let Adam kind of go over this a little bit. He's sat in on most of this here, and just the process a little bit, and then just kind of the outcome. So I think we're pretty close to where it was guessed at.
So yes, we went out for RFP. We received, I think, 5 responses. We're currently with the Northeast Service Cooperative through the Minnesota Healthcare Consortium, and they actually came in with the lowest bid. It was still a 17.8% increase from 2024. 49ers came in second with a 22.8% increase, and the others were 30% or above increase from this year. The insurance committee met several times throughout the RFP process. We met last week again, and we made some changes to deductibles, and we're able to reduce the increase from that 17.8% to a 9.2% increase, and that's a reduction of about $200,000 for the county. So, in looking around at other employers, I think that rising rates of health insurance, we're seeing a lot of employers having to increase deductibles to offset those rising costs. It wasn't a popular decision. The insurance committee had a long discussion about it, several discussions, but the plan designs are the same, just the deductibles are higher. So at the bottom of your RVA sheet there, we went from a $1,500 plan to a $2,500 plan for the common plan, and then the HSAs, I think we were at $3,300 and $3,375 last year. We went to a $4,400 and a $6,000 deductible. Those HSA plans also come with a benefit that we did not have last year, which is a preventative drug list, commercial drug list. And what that does is, my understanding anyways, is in your packet there, A9, is a list of drugs that if prescribed for routine use, they are covered by by your insurance. There's no copay. So some people have high medical costs, and if they qualify under this preventative drug list plan, that'll be less out of pocket for them. They might not have, they might be fine health-wise without that. So traditionally, they may have gone with a common plan at a higher deductible or a lower deductible to help pay for those meds, but this might be an option for those folks. So that was a perk to moving to those deductible amounts. So we're looking for the board to approve renewing with Northeast Service Co-op with those changes to deductibles and a 9.2% increase.
Is that the topic of discussion at the insurance committee there, and I know that's not popular, is that something that's, obviously nobody wants to do that, but is it worth the change here for the deductibles, or, I know it's a little bit of a change in deductibles, and honestly, a night in the hospital covers your deductible almost anymore. It's really quite high. Is that a concern for folks? Have you heard anything from anyone?
Well, like I said, the insurance committee, kind of looked at it from all angles. How does this affect employees? How does it affect the employer? They felt that, in talking about other employers and how they're having to absorb these costs, I think our county's costs went up close to $350,000 last year, and we were looking at another $420,000 increase this year, and keeping those low deductibles is expensive, and so they felt that this was still doable, still good coverage.
And the HSA, how does that play into any of this for some of these programs, or some of these plans, I guess?
Well, the HSA is, you can contribute to your health savings account, right? So, with the common plan, there is no HSA opportunity. For singles, the county covers 100% of their premium. If they choose an HSA, the county contributes the difference between the common single plan premium and the HSA premium into their HSA account. So, if they want to build that up, there's an opportunity there. But if they anticipate health needs, then maybe they'll go with the common plan, and they'll have that option as well.
Okay.
HSA usually has better tax consequences for most people.
It's tax-free dollars that go into that, so they can use that towards future needs, or they can do a VIBA. I think there's VIBA options with those as well.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get at, I guess, but I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah, and they, how you can use those funds is a little different between both of them.
All right. So this is what it is. There is no options for folks. So the deductible is deductible, and we're locked into that. Like say if I wanted to have a lower deductible, I couldn't pay more to get a lower deductible.
These were the recommended deductible plan options.
Okay.
We met with our broker, and they felt that you start getting more than 3 plans on there, it gets to be a lot. So 3 options. We went with a $2,500 for a single deductible is still, I think, fairly low in today's world. Maybe not as low as it was, but we wanted to provide, that option for those folks in the middle of the road, and then, something on the high end. So we've kind of spread those out, a couple thousand between each.
All right. And I think we're gonna discuss the process, how this is here maybe over the course of next year. Just the processes and timelines of these, and how to move and get out of or move away from certain ones?
This will be a one-year contract.
Yeah.
So we will be back in this situation next year. And so we'll re-explore probably an RFP process. We've used a broker here now, I think, for 6 years. We've gone up for RFP maybe 3 times now, and we've gotten the same answer every time. Our 130 members, we don't have the purchasing power that a co-op does, where we can share risk with thousands of members. And I know the 49ers insurance will be brought up probably in negotiations, and will come up again next year as an option.
Just so we're aware of the process and how to move that process one way or the other, move that needle, because these rates keep going up like they are. There's got to be other opportunities for coverages and stuff, because this is, the 17% is, or almost 18%, and then have to increase your deductibles. Obviously, that's a reasonable balance, but if it goes up again 9.2 or 10 or 12% next year with these same deductibles, what do you do? So it's just not sustainable, I guess, these type of increases for insurance and stuff. And this has got to, not that it matters here, I can say whatever I want, but it's got to stop. People aren't going to be able to afford insurance pretty soon, at least those type of coverages.
And those increases are reflective of our usage, our employees' usage. So I'm not, we're consumers of healthcare, and I think if we want to try to maintain that maybe there's a strategy to work with staff to be better consumers of healthcare. But when you have a need, usually it's a high price need, right? So that reflects in our premiums not covering our usage, and so the increases are reflective of higher usage and higher needs in our employee base.
Well, and that's good that folks are taking care of themselves too. I didn't come off on the wrong foot, but it just seems like the cost of healthcare is really, somewhat astronomical. But anyway, I won't get into the weeds, because I went to one of these meetings here, and it is interesting, and it's a big deal because it affects everybody that collects insurance here and has insurance, and it's from single to family. So it's a big decision, and it's not always clear either. Some of these things are very confusing to try to understand. So these different plans and what you pay and what you don't pay. So, but anyway, and this is the recommendation from the committee. Is the requesting different options with the higher deductible. Recommended action is to consider approval of renewal of the county group health insurance with a 9.2% increase, and eliminate the group retiree plan with the Northeast Service Cooperative for 2025 as presented and recommended by the County Insurance Committee. And that's a total cost of $216,455.76.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Bell.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Hey, Justin, how you doing?
Doing well. Yourself?
We got walls out there.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little update
Yeah.
where we're at? Sounds like we're on schedule.
We certainly are.
Oh, it's dry weather is helping it out.
Absolutely. And quite good. If it's okay, I'm going to share my screen too.
Yeah.
You got one more though?
I sure do. Sorry. See if it pops up here. It's trying.
There it goes.
Come on now. There we go. Again. All right. just October 8th board update. Works. Remember last time it was a good delay. There we go. So we're going to go through just a general construction update, what we have to look forward to, upcoming, go through the schedule, and open up for any questions you may have for me. So, update, as you can see, foundations are basically complete, near 100% complete. We have some holdout panels to get access into the building footprint, but essentially foundations are complete. We are vertical with the majority of the walls, again, except for the holdout panels. So we're considering that phase 1 wall panels. So the next course, once we get to bearing height with all this, the CMU, the roof system will go on. And then we have a little more CMU for the mechanical penthouse, and the final roof system will be on. So right on track. Mechanical, electrical undergrounds, as you can see right now, that's what we're working on. A lot of mechanical, electrical undergrounds, and getting CMU to grade, concrete masonry units to grade. Upcoming, we want to complete the mechanical, electrical undergrounds. There's a ton of it, absolutely ton of it. Keep working on the CMU bearing walls. As I said earlier, that supports the hollow core roof structure. Of course, set that hollow core roof structure. I'll show that schedule in a minute, how that kind of ties in. And really, our goal is, around the Christmas time frame to be dry done. That's been our goal from when we put this project out to bid, and we're right on track to hit that. Again, like Adam said, this weather has been a blessing. Some pictures, I know we all can look right here and see these same pictures, but put some pictures here anyways. I don't know why it's not there. There we go. You can see on the left all the low grade CMU work. On the right, that's actually the crane for the precast wall panels. Again, on the left, some progress. I don't know why they're coming in so blurry. I do apologize. But you can see the crane, see the wall panels going up. And on the right, that's just a couple days then, the picture on the right. There we go. Or precast. This next picture is our north elevation. I thought pretty good representation. That's what the public on 4th are going to see. That's that brick look. I thought it turned out really, really good.
And that's where the memorial will.
Yep, north of that will be the memorial, correct. Yeah. More below grade CMU. And that's what I had for pictures. So schedule is a little bit small. So right now we are in the process of wrapping up precast is the precast wall panels. When I updated this is about 55% done, but now we're fully complete with phase 1 precast wall panels. Working on mechanical undergrounds, be wrapped up this week. And really, from a big picture view, I have it in yellow. We want to set that hollow core roof system November 4th. That Monday, November 4th, is our first part of the top out. So that's a big date for us. And then, of course, around Thanksgiving time frame, have the final hollow core set. So yeah, we're tracking nicely on schedule. So very short update for you. Open up to any questions you might have for me.
So how many panels in the last 10 days? I think was it
I have to look.
two a truck for?
Yeah, it took them 9 working days to set them. Yeah. For these wall panels.
And they were pre-made in Illinois.
They
it
were
sounds like.
pre-made in Illinois and trucked here. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that went up very quick.
It did, yeah.
The first day you could see things, and now like it's.
It sits idle for a while. Like, well, is anything going to happen? And bang, overnight, we're vertical.
Yeah. So then when you talk about the CMU, you're talking about the inside walls
Correct.
that are going up to support your beams and support your hollow core.
Yes.
Across there, and then is that like a board, or is that a prefab as well? The hollow
Well,
core.
the CMU, just the block. That's
Oh.
what that is. The block work you see.
Yep.
And so the block goes up. They are all core filled in the secure perimeter.
Okay.
So basically, it is a complete solid concrete wall for
The-
DOC.
So then the roof is that a separate entity itself? Is that
No,
board?
that's from Wells itself as well.
Okay.
So that's hollow core. They come in usually 3-foot sections, and if you look down the side profile, you'll see holes through them. That's why they're called hollow.
Okay.
And they have a little camber to them. And yeah, that's our roof structure.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So you get the CMU up to support
Yes,
the hollow core roof structure, and when that happens, then they'll come back and set.
correct. It's a mix of CMU providing that bearing and some situations where we have steel columns and beams as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can see the outlay of it.
Yeah, you sure can.
Looks good, but there's been a lot of work done already on the
Yes.
ground. Yeah,
Yes,
there's
there
just
has
a
been.
ton of cement in the ground right now, and
Yeah.
a lot of block work, and looks really good.
Very good contractors we're working with too.
I see the plumbers were out there the other day, they were
Yeah.
hard at it. So
Yeah.
now they're doing
Fantastic job.
Very good. So we got some timelines, some big dates coming up here to get the roof on, and
Yes.
then the inside work will start and
Mm-hmm.
kind of get up, and we're still on track for next November.
Correct.
For keys and then move forward. Eh? It's unbelievable.
Yep, we're on track.
In a year and a half, so that's unbelievable. Thank you, Justin, for
Yeah,
that
thank
update.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, good morning.
Want to pass them along here.
PCA business, I see.
Yeah, well, you know, you have to have all the information, right? So-
There's an extra.
These were all presented at the public hearing, but I just thought I'd give you copies of them as well. And one more. Just one more. That's it.
Anytime you're ready.
Okay, all right. This is to consider a parcel rezoning application. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on September 19th to hold a public hearing on the rezoning application submitted by Patty Ballon and Daryl Bradley, requesting to rezone a portion of their property located at 1919 Highway 11 East, International Falls, from AF1 agriculture forestry to R2 medium density residential. The parcel is located along the shores of Rainy Lake, and the applicants are requesting rezoning in order to construct a home and garage. During the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission asked for any public comment. No opposition to the rezoning was heard or submitted. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended to approve the rezoning of the subject parcel to R2 as submitted, and to affirm the zoning of the entire parcel as R2. So they had purchased, or they had a parcel that was in the family for many years. It had a boathouse, and they proposed to build a house on it. And then they acquired some additional land from the Sportsman's Dock Association. And so the rezoning that was applied for here is for that additional land. Sportsman's Dock, based on the old Island View zoning, is AF1, and in order to construct a home, it needed to be rezoned for the purpose that they wanted to, build this garage on this additional land and then continue with the home building. So they made the application after they acquired that property. So. And the reaffirming of the zoning on the remaining parcel is the mapping's not, it's not, we considered it R2 on the remaining parcel, but it's not really super clear, so we just thought, we'll just clear it up and make it clean so that it is all R2 for that residential piece.
That other one was R2, right? The one
That's
they
what we
acquired?
considered it, but it
Okay.
wasn't, the mapping was
Okay,
not 100% clear.
right.
So-
And they understand too, there may be some setback that they may have to go through a separate process, I think, too,
Yes.
when they were here, so.
Yep, there was a, so the lot is very narrow between the highway right-of-way and the lake.
Right.
They also have some challenges related to the elevations on the parcel. So fitting everything in there is a challenge, but they're working through that. And they did receive a variance on the original parcel from the highway right-of-way to be closer than what's allowed under zoning. And I assume they'll do the same for their proposed garage for this parcel as well, the new parcel that they're acquiring. So they still have a process to go through in order to, meet those setbacks, but this was the first step.
And then there is sewer on that lot available?
Yeah, there's a grinder station installed. They were a part of the initial Island View sewer project, and contributed their fair share, just like everyone else on the project. So. And the requirement was they would, build a home.
So what's up here for this request is the rezoning from a agriculture to a R2. I think that's what's at question here. So this is actually a change of land use, which is going to enable them to be able to they can have a home on the agriculture one too, but just kind of giving them some more flexibility within the regulations. So.
Right. And affirming the zoning on the entire parcel.
And affirming the zoning on the entire parcel. Thank you. So that is a consideration.
It's pretty steep behind that house.
Well, when you go towards the lake there, it drops off, yeah. But they have a boathouse down at the lake. It's been there for many, many years.
Yeah.
I think it was a jump-off spot originally because they had island property, and I think it was a jump-off spot to get to the island. They've worked with Sportsman's Dock for many years, just, going through their property for access down at the lake shore. And so they've had a good working relationship with Sportsman's, and hopefully that'll continue. Obviously it did. They acquired some land from them, so.
Yeah, it's a good spot there.
Yeah.
Protected, well protected. But you're going to have to rappel down that hill if you want to get to your boat without driving. So it's
Well, in
pretty steep.
today's lake properties are valuable, and people find ways to have access to the water, even on these parcels that have steep elevations down at the lake. So,
Yeah, it's a great spot.
yeah, great view.
Yeah, and fantastic. So
Yeah.
appreciate them going through the proper channels too. So getting everything lined up correctly. So that's what. Accept a motion to consider the parcel rezoning application 2024-1006.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner L. Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
And that's to reaffirm also the.
Yes, include that in your motions to reaffirm parcel from the agriculture to the R2 for both parcels.
Yes.
So that would be
Yes.
part of your motion. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries.
Thank you. So the next item is a parcel rezoning submitted by Mark and Angela Fabish. The Planning and Zoning Commission again met on September 19th to hold a public hearing on the rezoning application, requesting to rezone their property at 11807 Highway 65, Gein, Minnesota, from O1 open space to AF1 agricultural forestry. The 40-acre parcel is located in the southeast part of the county along Highway 65, and the applicants are requesting the rezoning in order to use what was a seasonal home as a full-time residence. During the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission asked for any public comment. One comment was submitted by email from a seasonal use property owner in opposition to the rezoning, and I did provide you a copy of that email. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended to approve the rezoning of the subject parcel to AF1 as submitted, and you have all the other information.
And this is to open, from open space to agriculture, which allows year-round residency, whereas old
Correct.
open space does not. It's more seasonal residency. So they're looking to live there year-round. And just a quick question for you, Matt. So year-round residency would require, that would be homesteaded residency?
Well, I
Or
mean,
would
the
it-
zoning doesn't necessarily mean that it's homesteaded, but their plan, and I did provide a letter, if you'd like me to read it, where the reason why they wanted to
Yep.
have the rezoning. And I don't know if the Fabishes are here. Are they online by chance? I don't think so. So this was a letter that they emailed to me and requested that I read at the Planning and Zoning public hearing. Dear Koochiching County Planning and Zoning Commission, we apologize for not being able to get off work in order to attend this hearing in person or via teleconference. We are writing a letter explaining our reasoning for applying to rezone the parcel we recently purchased from open space to agriculture forestry. In 2006, the original owners built the year-round home at 11807 Highway 65 in Gein and used it as a summer residence for as long as they owned it. For this reason, they had it zoned open space. It was already zoned open space. They were just compliant. In 2022, the original owners sold this parcel. Their buyer used the parcel year-round for 2+ years before selling it to us. After we had a purchase agreement locked into the parcel, we were informed that in order for us to sell it in the future for year-round use, we would have to apply to rezone the parcel to agriculture forestry. Though we plan to reside here for many years, we wanted to take care of this immediately, as we are currently and will continue to use it as our year-round primary residence for as long as we are owners. Furthermore, and with all due respect, we don't foresee this zoning change causing any issues or changes for nearby parcel owners. So we are asking that you please grant us this rezoning from open space to agriculture forestry. Sincerely, Mark and Angela Fabish. And like I said, there was one comment that was in opposition. And I could read that if you'd like.
If you want to, sure, I can.
Sure.
This is a email response from
Yes.
Travis Soroki.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it, or are you good?
Yeah, so it says, Matt, I am unable to attend in person for the meeting set for 9/19/2024 to discuss the rezoning of the Fabish property. I strongly oppose the request of Mark and Angela Fabish for rezoning the 40-acre property from O1 to AF1. My family has owned property for over 100 years to the north of this location, assisted in the original construction along with current upkeep of the Russian Orthodox Church, and donated land for the cemetery. This area, minus the original Koochiching homestead where currently Mark Koochiching resides, is entirely seasonal cabins. This includes a Koochiching hunting cabin that adjoins said property. Our combined families use this remote wilderness cabin from late April through early December. Over the years, several newcomers to the area have wanted to raise sled dogs and stable horses on area properties. To have a dwelling like that in a remote wilderness area of northern Minnesota would certainly not be welcome. Regards, Travis Sroki, property owner at 11680 Highway 65.
And both of those comments were read at the public hearing, and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended to approve, or to recommend the approval of the rezoning.
Wishes of the board. This allows them to live there year-round, basically, legally live there year-round.
That's correct.
I move.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. And next up, we have an IUP.
Yes, so this is consider approval of the Matthew and Alyssa Savvy request for an interim use permit in order to convert their home into a short-term rental property. So the Planning and Zoning Commission met on Thursday, September 19th to hold a public hearing on the interim use permit application submitted by the Savvies in order to convert their home into a short-term rental. The parcel is located at 3092 County Road 125, International Falls, which is a non-riparian parcel located approximately 6 miles east of International Falls, near Point of Pines Beach on Rainy Lake. Approval of an interim use permit will allow the applicant to apply for a short-term rental license as required in the Koochiching County Short-Term Rental Ordinance. As per section 5.2B of the Koochiching County Short-Term Rental Ordinance, an interim use permit is required for this shoreland non-riparian parcel. If approved, as per section 5.16A1 of the Koochiching County Zoning Ordinance, the initial interim use permit will be valid for 5 years. Subsequent renewal and continuation of the interim use permit is conditional upon the compliance level of the owner with conditions of approval, which shall include the continued compliance with all short-term rental ordinance and licensing requirements. Subsequent renewal term will be determined by the county board. Change in ownership or loss or forfeiture of a license under the county short-term rental ordinance will immediately terminate any interim use permit issued for this use. At the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard information provided by the applicant and asked for public comment. No other public comment was received. The Planning and Zoning Commission made the recommendation to approve the interim use permit application as submitted with the condition of a 2-vehicle maximum on-site parking plus 1 boat trailer. And I do believe the Sabbies are online, and if they'd like to add.
Yes, we are.
Welcome.
Yes, we are.
We're just going
Can
through.
you hear us?
Yep, we got you. Go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure we were here to address any concerns that the board may have.
And if you want, I do have, like in past meetings, I've shared information about what the short-term rental ordinance, the regulations related to it. It's a bit of a list, but if you'd like me to go over that, but if you don't feel it's necessary, I don't have to.
The applicants are aware of that?
They are, yes.
Okay. Yeah, they've done their homework, it looks like to me, at least with this, reading this application, so I think they know what's in and out of that there. And there was some talk and discussion of vehicle deal there, a couple of cars and a boat, I think, looking at it, that might be okay, but no parking on the road, there isn't really, the road won't support extra vehicles on the road. The other, one of the other questions at our planning and zoning was the occupancy. We do not set the occupancy that's set with at the state level on coming due with their MDH license for occupancy. So I think that's really out of our purview, and they determine that based on how many beds and square footage and things like that. So
Yeah.
I know some of the things that we have within the packet. I know maybe Matt would be better to talk about it than I, but the radius of these areas here. There's one there now, pretty much takes up all of Point of Pines, this circle, a 750-foot radius. There could potentially be another one there within that. So honestly, in that whole area, there could be a maximum of 2 in that loop there. Now, it is a high-density area. It's an R3, right, Matt, on that area?
It is, yes.
So they're very tight lots, and non-riparian, riparian, they're all lake lots, some of them aren't. So it's a probably one of the higher density areas up in the rural part of the area, rural part of the county that we have, really. So
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if the density restriction is a 750-foot radius circle centered on the short-term rental, and when we look at the applications, we determine, I mean, the ordinance requires if there's 2 short-term rentals within that radius, then the application would be denied and they could be placed on a waiting list if there was ever a license that became available. But you know, when we checked on this one, you know, that there hasn't the density restriction hasn't kicked in here yet. So.
And the interim use part is one of the differences that the planning and zoning came up with was it's an interim use. It's a point of sale or change of ownership type of use. So once that ownership changes in any way, shape, or form, that AUP would have to be reapplied. It would be released from that property. So in the prior past, it was a conditional use which continues to stay with the property, and that's maybe the looking at wondering whether you're doing the right thing or not, and you know, but just giving maybe a little more opportunity for everyone. It doesn't hang on that property forever. So just a little difference there, and then there's also the annual renewal permit.
Yeah, so they'll have to apply for their, if approved, they would have to apply for a short-term rental license and meet all those requirements, and that's an annual license. Yep. That will be required.
Yep. But one other little difference, just kind of keep track of everything and keep tabs on it. So, anything else?
Is it on the lake? Is there,
It's across the road from
I
the
know.
lake.
Yeah.
Point of Pines Beach is just down the road, and that's a public beach. So that neighborhood has kind of a nice public beach in it.
Yeah.
And
I know exactly where it is.
yeah, so this parcel is not on the water, but you know, anybody using it, including short-term renters, would be able to walk down to the public beach and utilize it.
Yeah, they got a marina right there with a launch. And,
Yep.
Yeah, very handy for getting out on the
Yeah,
lake.
Rainy Lake Marina is down the road. And, yeah, so.
So the first question is, will the proposed use conflict with the intent of the Koochiching County Shoreline Management Ordinance or other applicable rules? I think they fall within that and are following that. As presented, will the proposed use cause any unreasonable adverse effects on adjacent properties? We haven't had any notices or correspondence with any neighboring properties.
No, and I think the planning commission, they were thoughtful in their approach to the parcel, talking about parking and putting the restriction on the number of vehicles within the lot, and obviously they can't park on the street, so.
Right, so the next one is, will the proposed use substantially diminish property values within the surrounding area? I really don't believe so with this interim use. Hopefully it would stabilize the values, but not actually drastically drop the values or increase the values substantially either. The next question here, will the proposed use impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding property for uses predominant in the area? This is one of the uses in the area. This was, kind of vetted through the planning and zoning and went through the process of, figuring out a strategy for these short-term rentals, and went through a lot of work and a lot of meetings to get to where it's at. It may not be perfect, but I think it's a really, really good start, and a lot of good work went into it too. So a lot of weekly meetings, bi-weekly meetings for a good 6 months or better to get to where it's at, and so and that actually was approved by this board as well. So I feel real comfortable with that.
Mr. Chair, just to comment on that. So the owners must have an owner's agent who's available 24 hours a day 7 days a week, and that person shall respond to complaints within 30 minutes whenever the property is rented for short-term rental purposes. So it's a requirement that they manage it in a certain way, and if they don't comply, they would be subject to revocation of their license.
They also have sewer there, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Yes, yep, city sewer.
Next question is the location and character of the proposed development consistent with a desirable pattern of development? Again, that kind of falls back to the radius and how many of these are allowed in our area. I'm not opposed to them necessarily, but I do really think that we need to be aware of this so it doesn't get out of hand and out of control. And we want housing for our folks that want to live here, need to live here, and want to be here too, as well as folks that want to be able to rent this out and use it when they can too. So this is kind of a good mix and a good. A lot of effort went into. We had a lot of public input actually from owners of properties that have these in their area. So we did have some good input, and we took all that input into consideration to get to where we're at today. So I really think that is a good direction, and at least a good starting direction. And again, the IUP is revocable upon sale, is also revocable non-compliance, or revocable with with no permit. So don't apply for a permit. This can be revoked and removed just without the permit being followed, and or any long-term verifiable complaints and actual complaints, not just phone calls without merit, but actual complaints that are legitimate. So I feel very comfortable with that as well. That's been covered. So before us here is to consider the interim use permit for consider interim use permit for short-term rental properties for Matthew and Alyssa Saab at 3092 County Road 125.
And none of the neighbors had a comment or disagreed with what they wanted to do?
We did not, at the public hearing, we did not hear any opposition to their application.
Wishes of the board.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next item is an interim use permit for Harmony and Shusky for home occupation taxi service. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on Thursday, September 19th to hold a public hearing on the application submitted by Tracy Harmony and Kurt Shusky in order to operate a home occupation taxi service out of their home garage, basically. The parcel is located at 2707 Town Road 403 East, International Falls, which is located approximately 2 miles south of International Falls in the Meadowview neighborhood. As per section 2.76B3 of the Koochiching County zoning ordinance, the R1 district, low density residential, requires approval of an interim or conditional use permit for home occupation or professional offices, provided no such use occupies more than 25% of the total floor area of the dwelling, not more than one non-resident person is employed on the premise, and such use will not include an operational activity that would create a nuisance to be otherwise incompatible with the surrounding residential area. As per section 1.131 of the Koochiching County zoning ordinance, interim use is defined as a temporary use of property until a particular date, until the occurrence of a particular event, or until zoning regulations no longer permit it. At the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard information provided by the applicant and asked for public comment. One written public comment was received in opposition to the application. The Planning and Zoning Commission made the recommendation to approve the interim use permit application as requested, with condition of no more than 4 vehicles to be used as taxis, and interim use permit shall expire upon property transfer. I provided the email in opposition, and I certainly could read it, but it was also read at the public hearing. So.
And there was you said no more than 4 within the, for this use, this interim use, and then it says no more than 1 person on site, and that would just be shift change, basically.
Yeah.
Drop a car off, maybe another person comes and grabs that same car or whatever.
Right, so in the home occupation wording in the ordinance, it says not more than 1 non-resident person is employed on the premise. So at the public hearing, the way they discussed it was that there would be a shift change where an employee may come out to the house, park their car, and then pick up a taxi and then drive off. And then they would remain off-site their entire shift until such time as their shift ended, and then they would drive back to the property, drop off the taxi, take their car, and then the next person that is on shift then would take over from there. So basically just a shift turnover is what Tracy presented at the public hearing. So.
Yeah, so the important thing is that these cars will be running back and forth, every run. They're obviously not going to go back to the garage or the house necessarily. More around town or wherever for the duration of their shift. So it's not just a on-call type deal. I imagine. What would be different from this to an Uber? I guess. I don't know. I guess I didn't look into it, but maybe it's not the right question. But if it was just
if somebody was operating an Uber, they would be under the same conditions.
It would be. Okay.
They would have to have a home occupation.
Okay.
Because it's a business out of the home.
Okay.
And they'd have to be, we'd have to look at the particular zoning on the property, in that case. But I would consider those the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
And then, like I said, I did receive the comment. I could read it to you, just so that.
Sure. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So this was from Kayla Cassable. I'm sorry, not Kayla Cassable. Kayla Visser. Sorry about that. Hello, Matt. I'm writing to you with concern for the application Tracy Harmony submitted for home-based taxi service. My husband, 1-year-old twins, and myself just moved back to International Falls last year. We chose our location based on the fact that it is in a quiet neighborhood. We enjoy our property with our girls and pets. I have concerns that with a taxi business, the traffic will pick up substantially in front of our place, since that would be the route from the Harmony House to and from town. I don't know how much of a say we have in this decision, but I did want to write to say that we do oppose this potential zoning decision. Thank you, Taylor and Caleb Visser. And that was read at the public hearing, and there was some discussion at the public hearing with the applicant, and that's how we heard about their proposed operation and shift changes and meeting the requirement as far as only 1 non-resident person employed on site at a time. So there'll be a shift change, and then the car will be off-site until such time as that shift is complete. So, but that was the comment made.
Right. Wishes of the board.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson.
1 second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. The last item, the Planning and Zoning Commission discussed the 2025 license fees for the 7 existing short-term rentals that were approved prior to our ordinance taking effect. So that, the ordinance requires the previously approved short-term rental parcels to be licensed by November 2024. And then they'll need to obtain a 2025 license nearly at the same time. So due to the timing of the license process, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended waiving the 2025 license fee for the 7 parcels that were approved for short-term rental use prior to June 2024. So anybody that had gotten approval and was legal for short-term rental prior to our amendment to the ordinance, they're suggesting, because of our timing, they're required to get licensed by November of 2024, and because they'll pay and then have to pay again within a month, they felt it would be reasonable to consider waiving those fees for 2025 for those 7 parcels. And we've had only 4 so far that have started that process, but I'm sure some, if not all, will move forward and get that taken care of.
Yeah, so basically if they get it now, they'll be good till November 2025, right, or whenever they're...
Yeah, well, you're right, the license renewal's on January 1, but yes, they start the process a month or 2 before
Right.
that license is required.
Sounds very reasonable. Wishes of the board. We're looking at waiving the fees for the existing 7, you said?
Yep, the ones that were licensed prior to the ordinance.
Licensed prior to the ordinance, so they didn't have this license fee prior to that anyway. This would just be a benefit to this getting passed here this past June, and really got kind of rolling with it and stuff, and we had some public hearings in probably even July before it was actually official. And then the applicants that we've had since then, obviously have applied and have paid this year, but these other folks haven't done that in the first place, and they've had it for several years, some of them. I don't know how many we had prior, but we probably approved, 5 in the last 4 years, I suppose, 4 or 5?
It was 7. Well, I don't know,
We had a
the last
couple
few
3
years,
there on
but
the
yeah.
books, right.
But 7 total that were
Yeah.
permitted prior to our amendment that included the short-term rental ordinance. So
What is the fee we're waiving? How much?
well, it depends on the value of the property, but anywhere from $250 to $500 for 2025. 2026, they'll have to pay the associated fee. But because of the timing of their requirement in the ordinance, it says they must be licensed by 5 months after the adoption of the new zoning requirement and the new short-term rental ordinance, and that puts them into November. And their license fee for 2025 is due for 2025, and so they're licensing right away here because of the requirements in the ordinance. And I've gotten some feedback from some of those applicants that say, hey, we're licensing, we've met all the requirements prior to the ordinance, and we're going to get double dipped here because they're right at the same time. So
Just prorate it so that they pay a 14-month fee.
you could do that as well. Yeah.
Did you misspeak? You said waive the 2025 fee? Why would we wouldn't want to do that?
Just the fee on these 7.
For 2025?
Correct. That's what it was.
Why?
No, but they pay in 24, and then, so they'd have 14 months instead of 12. I would just prorate it for 14 months and
We could certainly do that too.
do it that way.
Yeah.
So they pay for next year and
And
November and
2 months that are left
December.
in this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I'm not waiving the fee for the year 2025. Why would we do that?
Well, no, if they pay now, this would cover them till the end of 2025. Because there's a month difference is all it is, about a month and a half. By the time the ordinance got it actually legally adopted, to the 5-month window to get it done, and then there's only a month and a half before the end of
So
the
if
year.
they pay
then-
now, they're paying for 2025.
Correct.
Basically, yeah.
Correct.
So, and we're almost into, well, we're in October now, so.
So basically, they would be, you're giving them a benefit of a couple months.
Yeah.
Well,
mean,
I shouldn't say that.
Or
The
or you could
requirement-
prorate it
Yeah.
for a 14,
Yeah.
just
for that
add
period of
a
time.
couple months onto it.
You could do that as well. Yeah, prorated for the period of time that they're required to be licensed,
Be $50 or
whatever. it is, yeah.
$25.
Depends on their
Extra.
situation. Could be a couple months of extra.
Gee, I thought I suggested that fee structure a long time ago. Pay by the month. But I like your idea.
What's a start? Is that a motion, Commissioner?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we'll do a structure fee of, for the 7 existing, to include 13 or 14 months, whatever it works out to be for the timing of it. If it's 14 months, it'd be 14.
It's just prorating.
And prorate, yeah. So-
Prorate the fee for 2024, and then they'll get charged the full rate in 2025.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hell. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? And motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Do we have anyone for public comment, in person or online? Any public comment? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move it. Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson. Thank you, Commissioner Hell. No other business? All right, sounds good. No other business. I'll call the question. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. We are adjourned.